Hi, everyone there in Florida. My name is Lydia Nuttall. I live in Utah, and I have a message for you in Florida. Um, if you can spare 10 minutes of your time to listen to this whole thing, if you don't have time right now, that's fine. Save it. Listen to it when you've got the kids tucked in bed and before you go to bed, you can listen to it. I have a really important message for you, and it involves the happiness of our kids ultimately. So, I am on the executive board for We the Kids. It's an organization that is the mission is to put God back into America's history. So if you don't believe in God, that's fine. Keep listening because this does affect you. What I'm going to share. And I do have a solution that I'm willing to, I want to talk to you about. And that will help. I believe firmly that it will be a source of happiness for your kids ultimately. Because what my concern is, I'm very involved with our state legislation right now. Utah is having their legislative session, and I've been reading the bills that are being voted on in our House and in our Senate. And some of the education ones just scare the heck out of me. And I recently wrote my state senator and member of the House this. I'm going to read it to you because I think it's really good, and it will set the stage for what I'm going to share with you next. So I told them, I said, we are morphing more rapidly than I would like to believe into something that no longer nurtures the heart and soul of our youth with truth, the value of strong moral and social values, and our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as protected by the United States Constitution, are already being replaced with, listen to this, because this is really happening in our education system, and the media is promoting it, and it's just our kids are being immersed into this. So those things are all being replaced with equity, globalized citizen educationship. I didn't say that right. Globalized citizenship education, collectivism, socialism, Marxism, social and racial justice, gender fluidity, children deserve sexual rights, environmentalism, and of course we all have heard of critical race theory and comprehensive sex ed. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And I'm concerned as a parent, as a mom here in Utah, and this is what's going on in my own state. And I have to let you know that I am proud of you in Florida because I just interviewed someone on my podcast, which is called Ask an Immigrant. You'll find it on lovingliberty.net. I interviewed someone from Canada who went, she said, I fled with my husband and my two children to Florida during the coronavirus period because I felt like it was a refuge, the last refuge left. And so she fled Canada because of all the lack of liberty there in Canada. They're burning the churches right now. They burned about 40-something odd churches, Christian churches, especially Catholic churches is one of the religions that they're persecuting. You know, even if you who are listening are not religious, isn't it scary, though, that someone can believe something different than you and have their rights taken away? Because if it can happen to them, it can happen to you too. It can happen to me. It can happen to our kids, and we don't want that. They don't have freedom of speech. They pay so much in taxes, like 50% of their income. She wasn't sure on the exact percentages, but 50% of their income is taxed, and then another 13% on other things like commodities and property taxes going up. I mean, it's just, and they have, free stuff, free healthcare, free this and that, whatever, but they don't really because they pay for it and such high taxes. You can't get ahead, she said, in Canada. There's very little opportunity there in Canada to grow unless you want to work for the government. So anyway, just in listening to how much she values our country, we don't want our kids to take what we have here for granted. And so and our kids need an identity, a positive American identity. Right now, they're being told a story of shame to be an American because we had slaves back in the day. Well, we had slaves in the back in the day. That, Like that's something new throughout history. Every country has had slavery, and we still have it today. It's called human trafficking, right? So why are we pointing fingers and making our children feel ashamed of something that they are not responsible for? When they're adults, that might be a different scenario. They need a positive American identity. They need a purpose. They need a positive purpose and direction for their life. And so what I put together that We the Kids is promoting, you don't have to buy this. The last thing I want this to be is like a sales pitch, but I want to share with you a resource I put together for $37.50. You can buy this research. It's resource. It's called Forgotten American Stories, Celebrating America's Constitution. It's spiral bound because I made it for families to teach these one-page stories to our youth that are true and will help them value what we have in America and have an appreciation for it, so that they don't use their liberty that our forefathers have given us, that they don't use their liberty to destroy liberty for themselves and their posterity. We don't want that, but that's what they're being used for. And that really, as a mama bear, that just spins me up, that our youth are being used, they're being taught a story of shame of America so that they can then feel good about destroying it and accepting other things. So there's 12 chapters in this resource. There's 12 months of the year, and each chapter has 4 sections in it. There's a one-page story. For instance, here's one. It's Ellis Island, and all of them come with these full color pictures and one-page stories. That's all it is. Some of them have these little icons right here, computer icons, because you can actually take your kids on a virtual tour of Ellis Island, wherever you live, and learn why did millions of immigrants come to America and leave everything behind, everything they knew behind, to come to America. It's because we have something here that's worth preserving, and that our youth need to know what it is and value it so they can preserve it. And we as parents need to know what it is too. I wasn't taught these things in school. I graduated valedictorian in my high school. I didn't know the difference between the Constitution of the United States of America and the Declaration of Independence. I didn't even know the difference. So each of these stories have that one-page story with a picture, and then we pull out a hero from that story. In this case, it's Emma Lazarus. She's the one that wrote the poem. You'll remember it. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp by the golden door. That's about the Statue of Liberty. We help our youth understand, why did their ancestors come to America? We all weren't born here unless you're Native American, which, yay if you are. But what about the rest of us? Our ancestors came here for a reason and left everything else behind. So we want our youth to realize that they need to protect whatever it was that their grandma, their grandpa, their great, whatever, their aunt, their uncle came to America from wherever they came from. We emphasize those one-page stories, and then character attributes. Here's some more. Bravery. We highlight bravery. We highlight commitment, the commitment of James Madison, who gave us the Constitution. We highlight courage. Oop, this is not the right one. Sorry. Well, that's what they do. There's a one-page story, one-page hero attribute that we take from the story. Integrity, leadership, vision, the vision of the founders, the leadership of George Washington, the integrity of William Bradford, who's one of the first pilgrims who came here. Patriotism, we learn about the Boston colored Massachusetts infantry, who exemplified so much courage and patriotism during the Civil War to fight for the liberty of all men and women, no matter what color skin they have or what their religious beliefs or political beliefs are or whatever. They fought for us all to have this thing called liberty. By the time your children and you are done, using this resource, you will have a greater appreciation for our United States Constitution, our unique form of government that 196 countries have emulated. Once we got this form of government for us, a lot of countries wanted it for themselves too, and they've emulated some form of our form of government. And so the Forgotten American stories also include vocabulary, geography. These stories took place somewhere. So our kids, you got to get a globe. You got to show them where these stories took place on this planet. And there are fun activities too with each chapter. So one-page story, a hero, questions, quotes, things to ponder, essay questions that your kids can write about, questions that you can ask them to make sure they're understanding the principles correctly. And there's a one-page activity, including one of the activities is the American citizenship sample test questions. How many of us can answer those? And the answers are included. So anyway, there you go. You can get it. You could get it on for the We the Kids website, but it's not up right now. So you can get this on ForgottenAmericanStories.com. You have to type it in exactly like that because Google will not pull it up if you do anything, if you do a search. I'm on the hit list. With a lot of social media platforms. So that's why I'm doing this video that hopefully you can share with your friends. So ForgottenAmericanStories.com, just $37.50. That's all I'm charging so that everyone can afford this resource to teach your kids and so they can have a positive American identity and mission and purpose in their life. So God bless. Carry on. So proud of you in Florida. I wish Utah were more like Florida, but alas, it's not. I'm trying to do my part, but carry on with the great work you're doing there in your families, in your communities, and in your great state of Florida. Take care. Bye.